I've got something I want to share with you today. Have you ever wanted to build a camera? Wait, that question might be totally irrelevant. Let me go again. Have you ever wanted to name a camera? I mean, I'm sure all your cameras have names, personalities. All right, this might be getting a little bit out of hand. I've been using this camera setup for a year, and that's thanks to my friend John Moran. Keyword is setup. So much time has flown by over the last year, and I've been wanting to tell you in depth about this camera, about my time with it. And maybe I've kept my cards close to my chest, and maybe I've dropped a few Easter eggs. I'm all about those surprises, those jokes, that insider info. It's always fun. It makes you feel special, and yes, I'm talking about you. You are special. Let me tell you about this piece of equipment that was able to transform a familiar process. A year ago, I did a podcast interview with Kyle McDougall on the contact sheet. Many of you know and love him. Thank you, Kyle, so much for giving me the platform to come on to the podcast. That one has been the most positive, I think, reaction or reception that I've ever done with a podcast interview. So many people reached out to me, and I've had so many conversations and chats with people. Well, that conversation on the podcast led to a conversation with Chris Malloy, and we just started chatting it up. In the middle of the conversation, we're talking about cameras, photography, everything. I bring up an accessory that I want for one of my cameras, and it just so happens that one of his friends, John, up in Toronto, happened to be selling what I was looking for. That sounds sketch, but I promise, just hear me out. I've got the camera with me. It's not up on the table. It might look familiar, but just hear me out. Let me show you the photos that I've shot with the camera first. Okay, so I've got the camera here with me, but I need to do something first. Okay, we've got this. Okay, I told you it was gonna look familiar, just trust me. Okay, wait, I can't even see it. This is the Mamiya RZ645. Check me out, hear me out, listen to me. Let me tell you, let me talk to you about it.
Y'all don't even know what kind of man you dealing. I ain't here to save him, here to make a killing. What else can I say? I've always been the realest. Only Jesus rescue levels is critical.
Okay, so why did I buy this? To be honest, I wanted more shots on the RZ. I love the camera, but I feel like I wasn't maximizing my potential and my usage just with the 10 shots. I wasn't doing my best when it came to taking fashion and portrait shots. And since the RZ was pretty much the main camera I was using at the time, I figured getting more shots would be a solution. I don't know how it is for you all out there, but I know when it comes to shooting with models, for me, we both have to warm up. I have to warm up as the photographer. They have to warm up with the model. It's a dance. It's fluid. So having those extra shots can help with that, the extra 5 shots on 645 compared to 6.7. And sometimes you're just 1 or 2 shots away from that great idea. And maybe, yeah, I could put in another roll, but I don't want to kill the momentum and just stop the flow. I like the idea that the aspect ratio is more pronounced vertically than horizontally. I thought maybe this could be a solution for shooting full body. Not that I was having an issue with that for 6.7, but just the way that it looks. It's so unique. Shooting full body is something I do quite often, so I figured why not figure out a way to complement that flow. I never tried 645, so I thought why not jump in and see what it's looking like. I wanted to push the flexibility on a system that I was familiar with. I've been shooting with the RZ for over 2 years now, and I've gotten really in tune with the camera and being able to use it at this point. Originally, when I bought the camera, I didn't know you could shoot different formats on the camera. I thought it was just 6.7, but you're able to shoot 6.45 and 6x6 just with the backs that Mamiya offers. Another great thing about using the back and not totally switching the system was I could still use lenses that I loved. I typically rock the 65mm with this because of the crop factor. And with that crop factor taken into consideration, it gives me a 40mm equivalent when I'm shooting on the camera. It's great for portraits, it's great for full body, and that 40mm equivalent is when it comes to full frame or 35mm in this case, since we're talking about film. I wanted to try something new, just keep things fresh and just go for it. So how does it work? It functions the same way the camera would with the 6.7 back. With one exception, it's inverse when it comes to the rotation of the back and how that relates to the orientation of the composition. So what this means is in the 6x7 horizontal position, the 645 back is vertical and vice versa. And with using the 645 back, you can use a viewfinder mask to get the right crop for the aspect ratio for the new format on medium format, of course. And for those who may not be familiar, 645 on a roll of 120 film is 15 shots. So that extra 5 shots makes a world of difference for me. How I've used it. I've used it in a primary roll on my shoots, no pun intended, when shooting color or black and white. And I've also used it in a secondary roll when it comes to shooting along 6.7. And then I would put black and white in the 645 back and interchange mid-roll. And having multiple backs on set on the shoot makes it really, really nice, especially when it comes to shooting black and white and shooting color. Like trying to find the right situations and the right scenario for where I think the opportunity fits for whatever film stock that I'm using is a nice thing to have. Typically I'm shooting portraits or fashion on this, but I have had an opportunity to squeeze in some other shots as well using the 645 back. Okay, so you know how I mentioned being aware of the orientation on the back. There's definitely been times where I've totally spaced and realized, oh snap, I'm shooting portrait. The back is in landscape. So just how I was saying, this is the actual portrait when it's in this horizontal position compared to 6.7, and this would be landscape as the opposite when compared to 6.7. There's been times where I've been caught and just realized the fact afterwards that I wasn't shooting in the orientation that I thought I was shooting in. So just kind of something to be aware of and look out if you are using one of these backs. If you're looking to pick one of these up, don't forget to get a viewfinder mask. Now I've definitely used the 645 back without this, but to each their own. Just be careful. It's fun to play with, and yeah, it's just been a blast to use over the last year, and it's something that I'm continuing to look forward to every time that I go out and shoot. Wherever I can implement 645, whether that says a primary roll or secondary, I'm all for it. I'm all game. Really just happy with the purchase of the back. I played around with the idea of exclusively shooting 645 on the RZ. I put so many rolls through it, and I've seen a lot of results that I've been pleased with. But sometimes it's just hard to shake that thought of what a 6x7 portrait looks like on this camera. You know, you love it. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. Really appreciate you checking it out. If you're new around here, consider subscribing, doing a bunch of portrait fashion related videos, and maybe we'll be able to get some travel stuff going again here in the near future. And yeah, gonna be talking about gear a little bit as it relates to my process, and would love to let you guys in on that, give you some insight there, and give you some thoughts. So thank you guys again, appreciate you. I'll see you guys in the next one. Holla.